Well, the seemingly week and a half, 2 weeks of CM Punk news continued yesterday. The CM Punk meter certainly going off after months and months, almost radio silence from the best in the world, quote unquote, Phillip Brooks. CM Punk, obviously finally broke his silence as to why he left the WWE on Colt Cabana's podcast. You saw my reaction to that, which I posted live on YouTube. I did not post a reaction to the part 2, which, I talked about his time with AJ Lee and the CM Punk chants, and it was interesting stuff. But certainly this very noteworthy event coming last night from UFC 181, folks. Joe Passarelli here, Joe Passarelli channel, Joe Passarelli show. Now, CM Punk, there was rumors that he was going to sit down and talk to Dana White, but nowhere did I think, and obviously in his interview, he talked about the UFC. He spoke very highly of it, said how WWE tried to institute a no-compete clause to UFC for both him and Alberto Del Rio, interestingly enough, and certainly, CM Punk making huge news as he announced live on the pay-per-view broadcast on UFC 181. Notice pay-per-view, something I think that was a game changer for CM Punk, making this decision. He will be signing, or he has signed with UFC, folks, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. This is shocking news. Now, he announced that he will, here's some of the details. This shout out to Haley Imes from the Wrestling Throwdown, posted an article on the Wrestling Throwdown group on Facebook, which you can go join on Facebook, the Wrestling Throwdown group. She posted an article which, it posted the details of the contract. CM Punk has signed a multi-fight deal. It's not just a one-shot deal, and he's going to start out at the bottom with a guy similar to him with a 0-0 record. And now that's where I want to transition as to really analyze, alright, CM Punk's going to UFC. This is a headline grabber, and I think a lot of people are reacting, but let's actually break this down logically. CM Punk, to my knowledge, has little to no actual MMA experience. He's trained with Chael Sonnen and others. I know he has a very strong friendship with Chael Sonnen, and the Ultimate Fighting community and MMA community as a whole seems to have embraced CM Punk as one of those guys who certainly have always been a fan of the sport. 36 years old, not a spring chicken, not the oldest to get involved. Cold Turner really peaked in his late 30s, so anything's possible. I know Brandon... My buddy, the franchise Brian Sire, you know him from the Strike Zone as well as from RICW, the Universal Champ, and from the New England wrestling scene. He texted me yesterday, you think Punk and Lesnar will fight in UFC, because the rumors is Lesnar's going back to UFC as well after his WWE run. And I said absolutely not. And although CM Punk probably wrestled at around 220, maybe 230 pounds, I might guess around 220, not a natural weight for him, and to fight at, I don't even think he'd fight at light heavyweight. In fact, the article I'm citing that Haley Imes posted in the Wrestling Throwdown crew page said that he was not going to be fighting at the 205-pound light heavyweight division. Of course, Johnny Bones Jones still repping the championship in that division. I believe he's the longest reigning champion right now, if memory serves me correctly. I know I haven't been completely dialed in. I know he finally defends against Real Cormier coming up in January after that fight had gotten delayed due to injury. Is this going to help the UFC? Certainly. I think, first of all, this is almost a borderline desperate act by the UFC, because they had been losing some steam. Obviously, the women have really gained a lot of steam in the UFC, not just Ronda Rousey, but, the women in general. You saw this past season the coaches Pettis and, who ended up fighting in the co-main event of this Ultimate Fighter, UFC Presents 181. But, he's got a 0-0 record. He's maybe rolled around a little bit with Chael Sonnen. What has he really done to train for MMA? I don't know if he's going to have the kind of success that Brock Lesnar, who was an amateur wrestler, one of the biggest concentrations you need, and professional wrestler, but it's different. And having that amateur background. I think a guy like Dolph Ziggler could go to UFC and be strong. Del Rio already has a background in MMA, fought in Pride, fought Shogun Rua in Pride, and actually got destroyed when Shogun was young and really at the peak of his career. wrestled under the mask as Dos Caros. And I do believe CM Punk, going to be interesting to see if they call him CM Punk, or is it going to be Philip CM Punk Brooks for his announcement. Seems like they're going to go with CM Punk, the trademark nickname, which he owns, not WWE, so he is at liberty to use his trademark name on UFC or Marvel or any entertainment entity he chooses to get his name involved with. And, like, I'm rooting for him. I love him as a person. But I will say, if he does not have success in the Ultimate Fighter, in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, rather, in UFC, and he signs a multi-fight deal, say he loses 3 out of 4 fights against guys who are young, hungry, up-and-coming lions in the sport of MMA, been training their whole life, and their first fight is up against a guy, CM Punk, who's making the transition from wrestling, walked away from Vince McMahon, the WWE, and now thinks, I'm saying this from a UFC fighter and fan perspective, he's going to come into the world of UFC. At least Brock Lesnar had an amateur background. Again, it goes to that. Which is kind of surprised me that Punk would be the biggest name since Brock Lesnar to make the jump. Undertaker might have, had he been 10 years younger. But, a guy like Kurt Angle comes to mind. Dolph Ziggler, I think, is a possibility. If he leaves WWE, could make the jump to UFC with his amateur background. A lot of success at Kent State that he had. But personally, I do believe that, I don't know. I think it's going to be good for CM Punk because it keeps his name alive. But it's a risk in terms of, this is not, like Dave Bautista fighting a one-shot deal against some guy who maybe is a janitor in Providence, Rhode Island. This is the Ultimate Fighting Championship, and these guys are the best in the world. Pardon the name, but they are truly the best in the world at what they do. And, certainly Mr. Pipe Bomb dropped the pipe bomb at UFC 81. He can talk. He can sell fights. He can probably do that better than Chael Sonnen, who's probably the best talker they have now. And so that'll be good. And they'll have incredible buy rates, probably the best buy rates they've had since Brock Lesnar. I bet you guys like John Bones and other big names, maybe a bit upset, Cain Velasquez and others, maybe a bit upset at the buy rate numbers a guy like CM Punk may do in comparison to others. And CM Punk, one of the hottest free agents in wrestling and sports in general right now, with 10 months of fans wondering why he left WWE, finally makes the big unveil as to why in the Sit Down podcast with Colt Cabana on Wrestling is Art. But, to me, I think a lot of people are kind of marking and reacting with glee. Yay! CM Punk! You're going to UFC! Well, I just want to look at this from the logical perspective. I'm happy for him. Obviously a big-time decision in his life for CM Punk, it's been a defining year of change for CM Punk, and, now, obviously it's different than WWE. You're not on the road every day, but you're going to be training every day for this. I hope, obviously he's going to be writing for Marvel. He's doing other projects as well, making media appearances, Talking Dead, whatnot. So, he's a busy guy, even with leaving WWE. He has a wife, obviously, and the former WWE two-time Divas champion, AJ Lee. I don't know. I'm not saying CM Punk can't do it, but I have cautious optimism, I guess you can say. And, we'll see if he can look good in his first fight. Rumors is it's going to be against a green guy, similar 0-0 kind of record as CM Punk. But I just think that, I don't know, I'm a little perplexed as to, CM Punk. I don't know if this is guaranteed success for him, and I think he can actually hurt his legacy if he's one of those guys that just wins a fight, loses more than he wins, leaves the sport. Maybe he leaves unceremoniously if he's not happy there. I just feel like it's a roll the dice, as I like to say. Roll the dice, baby. It's a roll of dice, certainly, for CM Punk, and I think he's got more to lose, even though he'll make money off this deal, and good money at that. Not WWE money, but good money. And, but it's still, I think he could hurt his legacy in the eyes of the wrestling fans and even the MMA fans who are fans of guys like him and Samoa Joe and Daniel Bryan, Kurt Angle, Dolph Ziggler, the quote-unquote MMA style, as Paul Heyman has referenced to it, that you really saw gave rise in the early 2000s, and, you really see some of the best wrestlers in the world use that style. Whole different ball game, not just in MMA. He's not just going to a younger organization that's going to have him fight a scrub just to get him over for a big draw. This isn't even Strikeforce or Bellator. This is the biggest name in town, UFC, biggest brand in the world. Not many people can say they wrestled and fought both the UFC and WWE. Ken Shamrock, Dan Severn, Brock Lesnar. Some have had more success than others. Daniel Puder. But CM Punk, we'll see if he can have a better wrestling career, UFC career than Daniel Puder had, WWE wrestling career. If he can at least do that, have a better fighting career than Daniel Puder had wrestling, then I'll call this a successful experiment for CM Punk. Folks, that's my thoughts. What do you think? Subscribe to the Joe Passarelli channel for more sports, news, wrestling, reaction, update videos. You name it. Check it out. Joe Passarelli channel. Also check out Haley Imes on the Wrestling Throwdown channel on YouTube. That's Wrestling Throwdown. I do videos with her. I'm the co-host of some of the shows, but she's really the main proprietor behind that brand. And check out the Strike Zone every Thursday on rickradio.org, www.ricradio.org with myself, the Jazzman Jason Jaznowski, Nate T. Money Grist, and the one and only Immortal Mike Sorkin. Also, don't forget to hit up immortalseats.com for all your tickets to wrestling, sports, and other entertainment events throughout the world. immortalseats.com, brother, dropping the big leg on the competition. You want to check that out. Big shout out to Chris Soriano. Been liking his videos lately. Great take on the Yankees he posted in their offseason. Great take on the John Cena, which someone actually posted on the Wrestling Throwdown crew page. It's cool to see that some of the YouTube followers I've accrued have started to take to YouTube channel. I know you're on Sirius as well, but big shout out to Chris Soriano and Duo Dreamer, Duo Dream 2K26. Always does great work. Love watching his channel, and always a great supporter of mine and Haley's channel as well as Michael Miner. You can check him out. So many great YouTubers out there, but Joe Passarelli, best in the world? I don't know. Subscribe, folks. Joe Passarelli channel. Leave a comment down below. What do you think? My question of the day, did CM Punk make the right decision? Is he rolling the dice? Could he hurt his legacy if he doesn't have success within the octagon? All valid questions. Folks, what do you think? Joe Passarelli, you need to do the right thing and hit that subscribe button. Thank you, everyone, for your continued support. Joey loves you. Joe Passarelli. Peace.